Saturday afternoon, and we called it public hearing. To receive public input and comments on proposed ordinance for abandonment of the portion of Beaver Creek Road. As you know, the road is closed, the bridge is out about 10 years or longer, maybe longer than 10 years. Maybe once ago, 23 years ago. In the process of doing that, the land need to go back to the main line. If we don't, if we've been on the road for 3 years, we go back to the main line. And right now, Mr. Jeffrey involved on all the land in the back.
On that abandonment, y'all have been great.
Come to the mic and speak your name, please. Come to the mic and speak your name. Come to the mic and speak your name.
That road has been bladed or dealt with in the last, I don't know how long, but it has been worked on. We have cattle right before the bridge. You wouldn't be able to get in if it hadn't been worked on. And on the other side, I come in from the other way, there's cattle are out. We have cattle on the other side of the bridge. We're out, and I come down all the way to the bridge last year, hunting cattle. I know people have come around to it. So I know the bridge has been closed itself, but access on that road has been all the way to the bridge to put barriers up there. And it's been there, that road's been, I'm 62, the road's been there all my life. We've had cattle on low end, free range cattle in there years and years ago. And I'm not here fighting, all I'm asking is just to keep it open to the public when and if the bridge is ever built. You'll have access to that area. I know if something happens to one of the concrete bridges up there, when it was out, that was access in and out. For the parish, for the people that lived in there, either they go up through Mississippi to come around.
And the bridge been out rough for 10 years, I know, at least 10 years.
Yeah. But I do know it's accessible to the bridge on both ends. And I do know we have cattle and we use that road all my life. All I ask is people be able to travel that road that has interest in it.
Any more comment? Mr. Revolve?
Yeah, I'd like to speak, honestly, yes.
Please.
So, I brought a map. If you don't mind, Glenn, I'd like to, my name is Jeffrey Duvall, and we own the land in question where the road goes through. So Glenn, I'd like, if you don't mind, I'd like you to step up here and show me, I wish we had a place we could post the map, so.
You know where the place is.
Well,
all around
so-
on it on our place.
So,
years ago.
okay, so show me the place where you own, that you have cattle on the north side of Beaver Creek Bridge.
It's up there on the north side of the strip, right there.
And you own that ground.
No, I don't own it.
You rent the ground.
We've leased the ground for about 25 years, Jeffrey. Okay. Here's the people right here that own
Okay.
the property.
Okay, that's fine, but, and Glenn, I told Joshua 2 weeks ago that if we could build the bridge back, you're welcome to use the bridge to feed your cows. You also have cattle in Liberty, Mississippi.
That's right.
Yeah, so in order to get to those cattle in Liberty, Mississippi, how do you get there?
How do we go? We have traveled this way for years till the bridge was.
How many 67?
Yeah.
According to everybody I know, it says you do not use Beaver Creek Road to get to Liberty, Mississippi.
Did I use Beaver Creek Road to move equipment before that bridge was out? Did I not?
I don't know if you did or not, but if I build a bridge, you can use it.
No.
We talk one at a time.
You can use it. So what I wanted to prove, what I'm just proving is the fact that you don't own any land north of this, nowhere on this property where I'm referring to the road being
Oh, yes.
discontinued.
My property here, family's property, crosses Beaver Creek, Jeffrey. If you go check your maps, when that place was surveyed by Mr. Snyder,
Where's it crossing at?
I've had it with, but it comes back in here where Rogers Road is.
Who owns it?
It's the Lee estate in that family.
Well, Glenn, it ought to be on the map that it says on.
Well, go check.
It should be a map. It should be here.
Jeffrey.
It's there, I promise you, pay taxes on it every year. And you don't think and you guess what, you can get to it, we're not talking about closing Rogers Lane. That is not impacted.
Let me ask you this, how long does it take to get from this bridge back around here to back there?
You prove my point, you just proved my point.
That's
You
not
know
how-
why I'm gonna build a bridge? Because the commerce here, the commerce that we're talking about for the parish of East Feliciana is way more than the commerce from a few cows. And I don't wanna drive 15 miles every time I leave my house. Guess what? I live as close to it as you do. It's 2 miles from my house to that property. I don't wanna go around I don't wanna come up Perkins Road.
What
Okay?
was your statement to the
So
sheriff?
I'm gonna build a bridge. I'm gonna build a bridge because the commerce that I have on my property is impacted by the bridge, and I'm gonna finance the bridge myself. And I told your son that y'all could use the bridge. I don't understand, and if there's an emergency, the parish, I've told the police jurors that if they need the bridge, you'll be able to use the bridge. We're not talking about discontinuing an emergency
This is
situation.
what you told me, Jeffrey. I'm gonna have a code on it. And you can go to certain times. Did you not say that?
That's not what I said.
Yo, Jeffrey, you did.
That's not what I said.
You said, we will be in there hunting, and you don't need to be traveling through there because our plots are right over the
Okay,
road.
so let me tell you exactly what I said, okay? Let's make it clear.
That's
I said,
because I know what
no,
you
this is what I said. How many days of the year is hunting season, Glenn, delayed?
For you, pretty much the whole year.
It's not. Deer season lasts a couple weeks out of December and January, as far as I'm concerned. I'm in the hunt business. Glenn's in the cattle business. I asked Glenn that during, say, 2 or 3 weeks during December, if we could have some respect. Say, don't drive through, if we close the road, pay us some respect and don't come through at 4 o'clock. Use the road from 10 to 2. I did not say that you wouldn't have access to the road. I said just pay us some common courtesy, which is what you didn't give to me by not calling me and having this discussion at your house and my house. Because we could have had this discussion. We could have had this discussion in private. So all I'm saying is that the commerce of East Feliciana Parish, I think, is right here. Okay?
You got access out this way.
Do,
You got the same access as I have. You will have, if it stays just like this.
Does the parish intend to build a bridge?
That means any other future.
Okay. So I will build my own bridge, okay? And by doing that, I want to abandon the road that we proposed and the bridge, and I will build my own bridge. And Glenn and his family will really use the bridge. And I'm asking for them to just give us some respect at certain times. There's no place along the roadway right now that he's even referred to. I said that if we were able to open the roadway back, which it only makes sense to expand the roadway and to let sunlight shine into the road and it'll keep the road dry. Okay? There's less maintenance on the road if we do that. Right now, there's timber along the edges of the roadway. And by pushing the timber back 50 feet or 100 feet on the side of the road, it'll allow sunlight to hit the road. Be less maintenance on the highway, and when doing that, we could plant some of those areas. It would make it very easy for us to access those for hunting. Okay? So it only makes good sense that if I'm there 2 or 3 times out the year, and I'm there on the property hunting at 4 o'clock, that you could have fed your cattle between 10 and 2. Now, does that not make sense? It's just common sense. I guess
Common sense.
they don't apply these days.
No,
Yeah.
do you have common sense about a cow?
Yeah.
When does cows?
Yeah, I have a lot of common sense.
When do cows get out?
I'll tell you what my common sense is, and I'll come help you.
No,
And I'll come help
I'm
you.
not asking you that, I'm just telling you.
I'll come help you with your cows.
I'm just
Because
saying.
if your cows get washed,
Once we got time.
if your cows get washed from up here on this hill into the swamp, they're probably not gonna be alive.
Well, do you think it's gonna flood that hill up there?
I don't think so, that's why I don't think you're gonna need to come there and get to your cows. And if there's flooding, you sure not gonna come through Beaver Creek Road, you're going up Perkins Road to get to your cows if it's flooding.
When I come down in here, I come through here.
In a boat. You have to come in a boat.
How long we had cattle in that place, Jeffrey?
Hey, is your cow,
Longer than you were old.
hey, what, so, what does that matter? Glenn?
Remember, you just said common sense and
You
cows
don't
don't
own,
flood.
you don't own that ground up there.
I don't care if I own it, I paid it to lease it, bud. That's what I do, I got cattle there.
But all I'm saying is that the commerce that's impacted here on this property will vastly exceed any commerce you can get from the cattle up there if we can
I'm not
have,
controlling
if
that
we can
land.
control
I'm
our
not gonna
commerce.
say that.
We can control our commerce by building a bridge.
Mr. Duval, how much of land you own?
2,560 acres.
Who owns it? Who owns it?
I own it.
You're the only thing on the deed.
My wife and I. You can ask, she
Well,
said,
I-
me.
Resources.
I'm not saying, I'm just asking.
They bought the land, so 2,500 acres.
The cows have been there longer than that land, hasn't it?
No, nothing.
What's that mean?
Well, I'm just saying.
My grandfather pulled a plow with mules across his property in great grandfather in the 1800s.
He just
What does
said
that mean?
You just got that place.
So what?
Well, them cattle have been there and established for how many years?
And how many years have you been driving around to go there?
Every time that bridge was open, I didn't drive around.
And guess what? When I get the bridge there, you're not gonna have to drive around.
I'm not gonna have.
And I'm gonna get a bridge there quicker than the parish is.
They might so.
And you're gonna be welcome to use it.
But
Let me ask you this, are you gonna put that in writing to him that he can use the bridge?
my family,
And
anytime and
that
any
his
point.
family can use that?
I-
The only time that you don't want them in there is when,
2,500 deer season.
at a certain time.
Look, they can use the road during deer season. All I was asking is that if it's an hour before dark, give us some courtesy, and I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that just a few weeks out the year. And Glenn's a runner, he knows what I'm talking about, okay? So, not only is Glenn, my family's property is in Mississippi north of here, and they go there weekly also, okay? So they will have access on this road also to get into Mississippi. You know, we have the church that will have access to the road.
We have spoken those times.
And I've spoken to the pastor. The Meeks family actually owns property with timber here that would be impacted. They are in favor of the road being privatized. Okay, not only that, security of the road. Let's go back to the common sense part of this. I have security cameras out. Last night at 10 o'clock, how many security cameras have you ever monitored any of this?
I don't think.
You don't need, that's exactly right. You don't need to monitor. Why? Because your gate's locked, isn't it?
Going into the pasture,
Oh, that's right. This is my pasture. Does that make sense? This is my pasture. That's your pasture. Okay? Last night at after 10 o'clock, I had the first vehicle entered. Shortly after that, another vehicle entered. At 10:36, one of those vehicles left out. 8 minutes later, the other vehicle left out. We don't know what they're doing.
That tells you the road's being used.
Being used for what?
Well, I'm just saying.
Drug dealing?
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's not my
You're
fault.
right. You're right. At 10 o'clock at night, nobody owned any land that was down there. So the road is being used, but it's being used for the wrong reasons. I want to use the wrong road for the right reasons.
Well, I want to use it for the right reason too.
Hey, we'll work it out, and if the jury agrees with abandoning it, you'll have access to it, regardless of the fact that you didn't call me to give me the courtesy of showing up at my doorstep.
Mr. Fuller,
I do have a question. Jeffrey, you told us that you notified everybody and that they approved of this. When you came here to us, you told us that everybody was notified and everybody approved. There's some people behind you all that I want to ask them if they knew about it.
I
But excuse me,
notified,
I'm not asking you, I'm asking these people.
No,
No.
not till Glenn called us yesterday.
That's right.
We didn't know anything about it. And we used that property before he started using it. My husband had cattle there. When they were working on Perkins Road, that was the only way to get in and out of there.
So you were not notified?
No.
We advertised for 3 weeks and, officially done.
Nick, can I respond?
Please.
Their property wasn't impacted by the closure of the road. I'm not stopping them from getting to their property, okay? And access to their property, you were at Perkins, correct?
Right.
Right, so where do you typically come from to get to your property? Where was your place set? Across from Mr. Tom
Before
Perkins?
the bridge went out, we came through the Canaan Swamp.
But your property is at on Perkins Hill.
No, I have property on Beaver Creek Road.
I know, but you also own property on Perkins Road, right?
Right.
You are Perkins. You own property on Perkins Road. Your family settled that property on Perkins Road,
Yeah, but it's not a
right?
private road.
I know,
it's a
I know, but I'm
parish
saying,
road.
I'm just proving a point that you're,
You know where they
come
live
from
at right
Perkins.
now?
They live in Greensburg.
Okay, which is the closest route to it?
Yeah, well, you're managing the property, so they don't need to be there every day like that.
That's theirs, they can go whenever they want.
They can. Right now, they have to go up Perkins Road to get to it. So, just, I did contact the people that would be impacted, the Meeks family and the pastor for Riverside Baptist Church.
And you contacted Glenn?
Yes.
For what?
Oh, he's not being impacted, is that what you're saying?
He doesn't own property.
He doesn't own any property on north of Beaver Creek.
Yes. If you go research your maps and talk to people, see no damage property across Beaver Creek.
And guess what? Rogers Lane is not impacted. Is Rogers Lane impact on this, Mr.?
No, it's not.
Rogers Lane's not, that's how you would get to your property, Lane.
That's right. which is
The property you hadn't been to in 50
short-
years.
What's the short, I've been there 40, 50 years, you just don't know that.
Well, I don't, because there's no paint on the trees, and nobody, we didn't know you owned it until you told me that.
What's number, can you elaborate on what the city said, thank you?
Yeah, I mean, when I talked to Reverend Pounds, the only thing he asked for was that he gets a rite of passage. And I think that's the decision you all need to make, that whatever agreement that you have to revoke ownership of that road, that is stipulation there that there's no time frame of when they can and cannot use that road. And Mr. Bob's gonna build a bridge, hey, more power to him. And I appreciate that. But my only concern would be if y'all just revoke the right of it, and you don't put in there, that's the only thing Reverend Pounds asked for, was a rite of passage so they could get there. Now, the only bad thing about putting a time frame on Mr. Duval, with a church, what happens if they have a funeral? Stuff like that. So that's my only concern, and again, I don't vote. These people up here vote, but you just need to be willing to agree that I believe that states that they have the right of passage.
Well, put
So
some
we-
stipulations and put it in writing.
That's
So
what I would do.
I've already talked to Jeff
I
Moody.
recommend that, yeah.
That's big. I've already talked to Jeff Moody, and I've already asked Jeff Moody to create a servitude or a rite of passage
That's all you need.
from the point where we want to gate the road to the church. So Reverend Pounds has his own code, he has his own, it's his road too, and I will maintain it. So, and that will be recorded, that will be
Solution
recorded.
right there.
It'll be recorded.
But the only thing you gotta be careful, this is a Sam, Mr. Quill question, not here yet, is that you gotta be careful when you revoke something that the parish owns.
Right.
I mean, there's some legalities of how you do that. Now, I don't know about gravel roads, I mean, gravel roads may be a whole different round, but I know if it was an asphalt road, then whoever wants it would have to pay the cost of what it costs to maintain that road. And there again, I don't know if Mr. Quilla will say gravel roads, and you go back and look and see how much money we spent over the years on maintenance, and is that part of it or something? I don't know. But that's a legal question that needs to be answered.
In the past, after Jerry had worked the road for 3 years, school worked private, and they would operate in 3 years, it goes back to the
You
landlord.
reverse it back to the
And
land.
as you know, on any road, anywhere in the parish, the road is directly down the center.
Because it's gravel roads, yeah.
State highway also, when they do a survey, they go from the center of the road east west. That's where they go.
But how much of Beaver Creek Road are you talking about?
We're talking about, and you will have access to your property if you need to come through Beaver Creek Road to get to your property, Ms. Perkins.
How about you, Mike?
I now own part of the Perkins property. If I can speak, you will have access, Mr. Newton. Y'all know me. Y'all know my relationship to the Perkins family. My father took Mr. Mahoney back and forth when he had cancer to the doctor. Mr. Tom and I were lifelong friends from the time he moved here. I currently lease the Perkins property. You will have access up Beaver Creek Road to get to your property in the event you need to get there. That's not an issue. Glenn will be
But that's in the event, how do
So
we have to?
we're talking about closing, abandoning the road just south of Rogers Lane.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're heading down Perkins Road, if you're heading up Beaver Creek Road, when you get to Rogers Lane, we'll be talking about gating it there, and then gating it above the access point, right at the bridge on the south end. And then we have to figure out if we're going to rebuild the bridge in the current location or relocate it to a better location. I think there's better locations to move the bridge in a span almost half the distance. So I think for less than $250 million, we can put a bridge in there. In some other places, not in the current location. So we're talking about moving the bridge to another location.
It was gonna cost us $1 million to put a bridge called.
Or 1.2, a concrete bridge.
1.2.
Yep.
So I think, Jeffrey, if I understand this right, the major problem is that if you did have the access, it would be the time frame of access for those. Am I understanding that right? I mean, as far as access to where you need to go, they're the landowners behind you, is that the landowners that own the property? This is my question.
I called you this afternoon, I did,
I know, we were on our way here.
I did call you, I did call you this week, okay.
So the biggest problem is not having the access when you need it, or is it the time frame that he's offering it? I'm just trying to understand.
My question is, who's gonna have access? What about other people that use that road?
Okay, so if you allow me to show you all the pictures of all the trash and all the debris, I'm always picking up trash, and I'm picking up trash everywhere.
We pick up trash in Greensboro.
Yeah, exactly. So right now, I've got photos where you can see the tires and the debris that's going in Beaver Creek. Okay, so this is an environmental issue too. We didn't even get off on the environmental issue. It's a common sense. It's commerce. There's environmental issues. If you need to use the road, you could use the road. I mean, I don't know how many times a day you would need to go up there to use the road, but
Well, I'm thinking about the other people, if a bridge goes out on Perkins Road, how are they gonna have access? They're not. Because the parish has no intentions of rebuilding the road.
well, right now, if one of those bridges went out, how would you get there? You would have to go up into Mississippi, right? Because Beaver Creek Bridge is out, right? So you
But
couldn't get there anyway.
But there's no intentions of rebuilding that road.
Correct.
You don't have the money, you got people to put $1 million bridge in.
I'm gonna ask you a question, Lou.
Okay, please.
These bridges are built in the parish, who pays for them?
In the past, the bridge, but now,
These got concrete bridges that put in by the
but the
parish.
state, huh?
That's right. The federal is all system bridge. The federal government pays 90%. The state pays 5 to 10, the parish has to pay 2 more if they pay that. I built them for 33 years, East and West Feliciana Parish. It ain't the parish paying the $1 million. It's the federal government pays the money. All system bridges.
The first thing that you require is the population.
I'm not saying
I'm
population.
not asking about population. Back in that swamp, no one lives there, nobody. Most of it's county. And I don't think the state will figure for $1 million bridge back. I might be wrong. But everything is based on population and dealing with money.
Let me comment. Mr. Donald DeLee is Glenn's father.
I know the other one.
Mr. Donald DeLee followed me up my driveway 2 weeks ago. He asked me about the road. And I told him what our plan was. And he said, that's the best thing that could ever happen. Glenn's daddy told me that's the best thing that ever happened. He said that I was coming out of my property and the road was blocked. And he said, I ran into the ditch, feared for my life. And Jeffrey, that would be the best thing that ever happened. He says, a lot of traffic on the road that they shouldn't be in. In the last month, there's been a total of 10 different vehicles that traveled up that road. 10 vehicles in over a month, according to my security cameras. Okay?
You said it was 3 last night.
That's right, 3. It was the same 2 vehicles that came in and out of there, okay, after 10 o'clock, okay? So, all I'm saying is that I would like to build my own bridge, and Mr. DeLee will have access to it in the noons, and anybody else. It just makes good sense to have it private and not have to deal with the garbage being unloaded and everything else. And the security that I don't need, I can have security cameras at my gates versus other security cameras. So how, this doesn't make common sense to my relatives, I can't put that together just yet. When I told them they could use the road.
The one with the church.
No, sir.
South side of the church.
The church will have its own right to the servitude, the right of way will be recorded here in the assessor's office, or the clerk's office. And Jeff Moody has already been ordered to do the survey. Jeff had surveyed the property that we purchased, so he has all the documentation. So Mr. Pounds, we will hand deliver him at my cost, the survey.
And that's the only thing he asked me for, Mr. Ball.
Absolutely. If you own property there, you should have access to it. The Meeks family owns timber on both sides of Beaver Creek. The representative is Tom Manuel. I've met with Tom Manuel twice. I talked to Tom Manuel on the way here. I texted him, and he said, I still have this support to move forward.
Any more comments from the public?
I have a question, Mr. Lewis. I want to ask Mr. DeQuillo, what would be the legal ramifications if Mr. Duval and the parish collectively funded the rebuilding of the bridge and we didn't release or abandon the roadway? Is that even a possibility?
Yes, I mean, the responsibility is gonna be on y'all to fund the rebuilding of the bridge. If he wants to contribute or donate some money to it, that'd be fine. If he wants to donate some manpower or equipment, that would be fine as well. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yes, that's what I wanted to know.
Mr. Duval, you're shaking your head, no, you're not interested in that?
I wouldn't fund it if it's gonna be open to the public and the public's gonna be using the bridge. I mean, I can't see funding it, but I'm gonna fund it myself and use it. I mean,
If it's public, it's public.
I mean, yeah, if it's public, let the public fund it.
I'm just asking, because
Yeah, I mean,
we didn't have a spoken word, you were just shaking your head.
That
So
would
it's gotta
make
be on
it
the
easier.
table.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it would make good sense to finance a bridge for the public.
And from a liability standpoint.
Exactly.
I would want Mr. Duval,
Exactly.
and I would not want the parish going in with the regular person.
And that's another reason why I
It's
can't,
me.
we can't just open it up to people just because they want to travel. It will be a liability, and it will be, obviously, the insurance, you know, kind of discuss some of the insurance. I don't have a cost on that. We do have some estimates on the bridge, but I have no idea what the liability insurance will be just for the access of the bridge.
It'll cost $1.2 million to take it.
That's what I figured the concrete would cost.
You close, because the state will close the bridge. Probably couldn't, the bridge couldn't be passed. Parents didn't have the money to replace it or replace it. A flood came through and wiped it out. You'd be surprised how much water comes through people crazy.
So right now, the water just from the last rain is built up, and the debris stacked up on the bridge is enough almost to take the bridge.
We've seen it another time after.
Yeah. So I think there's a better location to build a bridge, and that's what we'll take a look at that.
Any more public comment? First one here. We'll close the public hearing. We'll make it fitted in a regular story. Vote to close, please.
Thank you.
All in favor?